What is the most dangerous thing you've done?
I haven't done too many dangerous things. I'm inclined to avoid that kind of stuff, but he's done a lot of things. And one of the most dangerous was I think it was in Eastern Washington that we were over there, and he decided, and Jamie with him, to take him down a whitewater river trip down from one place to another, and it was so, they both were happy to do it. They get in the water and they discovered that the rocks, instead of being like this big, are like this big, and the water's just going so fast. Literally, when I drove down a mile or so to pick them up, they were already there. It was so fast and so dangerous, and he really realized that this was a very stupid, very dangerous thing. But they enjoyed themselves and they made it. They didn't get killed. Oh my God, that was a bad one. I always told him, I know you're trying to kill my children.
That's why we could never take Jory. It was always Jamie or Jody.
It's true. I said, let me have one baby that will live. At least one. But yeah, you did a lot of things like that. And Jamie, ironically, is the most daredevil by far. He'd take on anything. Jody was very cautious.
Those are educational experiences.
They are. Then they lived. So that was the important thing. That's the one I would talk about.
Well, that is kind of funny because that's the first one I had listened to. But I had several of them. But that was not in Eastern Washington. That was the Skagit River.
Oh.
And we were up on the Skagit River, up in the mountains, and we thought we had our rubber rafts with us, 2-man rafts. Well, they call them 2-man rafts, but one person could just barely stay in it. And so Jamie and I took off down the river, and it was terrifying because when in the rivers, when they make a swell in the middle and make these bumps, well, when we hit the first bump, I went up like this and it broke over the top and filled my boat with water. And I knew we were in trouble, and Jamie was behind me. So I said, here's what you do. We had the rope around the outside of those, or tone. I said, you just grab a hold of that rope, kind of twist your arm in it, and if you get flipped over, we'll see you floating somewhere downstream. And so that was the warning I gave him. And we went on downstream, and we ended up with both of our boats full of water, but we made it to the landing point. So that was the first one.
Was I happy? No, I was not happy.
We were wet. I was unhappy because I still had my billfold in my pocket, and I was sitting in water up here. But other than that, it was fine. Another one was, used to make speed runs on I-5 to see how fast our cars would go. And I had an old Studebaker with a big Chevrolet engine in it, and it was geared real high, so it was a good high-speed car. And at that time, they had mile markers marked on the freeway, and so we'd go out the Township Road, we could just go out on 183rd now, and get on the freeway, no cars on the freeway, and so we just open her up and let her go, turn around at Maytown and come back. We had marks on, then we had a stopwatch, and so we'd go how fast we went between the 1 mile markers. And I hit, my maximum was 142 miles an hour, a maximum between the mile markers. And so I remember looking in the rear view mirror to see if anybody was catching us, and I could see the car top was shaking like that. I didn't know how the back window even stayed in. It was just shaking like that. But then I realized this is really a stupid thing to do. So when I hit 142, I've never done that again.
And I've always said, don't be stupid when he was going to do anything.
And firefighting, we had quite a few different experiences that were scary or dangerous. Um, we had a house fire one time where there was no hydrants around, and so it was 1,500 feet to the next hydrant, and so we pull up there. There's me and Dave Craig and the driver. The driver took off going from there to the hydrant and pump water back. We got everything all laid out. We did have masks on, and the house was burning like mad. So we just, as soon as we got water, we went in, and we both ended up getting burned. The only place we got burned was between our gloves and our coat when we were reaching forward. Took the skin off of our wrists right here, and we had a little bit of burn on our necks. We had masks on and whatnot. But that was, and the thing that did it was the steam, because we went in and we just, everything was really hot and it all turned to instant steam. And so it was pretty much a steam burn. That was scary. We knew we were in trouble, but we went ahead and put the fire out anyway. Another time, we had a fire inside a iron foundry where they were making big gears and big wheels and stuff, flywheels. And we're coming around to the back door, and it was a big rolling door. And we tried to get it open, we couldn't. I said, "You pry it back, and I'll reach in and see if I can find this latching it." And I reached in around the crack like that, and something hit my arm right here. And it felt, like something heavy just come down. And I told Craig, who was with me, I said, "I don't know whether I just had my arm cut off or not, but we're going to take a look at it, okay?" And so I pulled it back out, and I just had a bruise, but it killed all the nerves right here at the time. And so I didn't feel anything from here on out, but it was just one of those, just as calm as could be. I don't know whether I cut my arm off or not, but that was kind of a frightening moment. We were at a large fire. It was Northwest Glass was on fire, burnt their whole warehouse, and we were out, had a big parking lot area, and we were squirting water in. We had a hand line. We had a big monitor, but a hand line, 2.5-inch hose, 1.75-inch tip on it, and it got away from us, and it was whipping around the parking lot, and it come back, and it hit me. Just the nozzle and some of the hit me and knocked my feet out from underneath me and hurt my knee. So that was one. That was kind of scary because you see this thing. There's 100 feet of hose going across the parking lot, and it's coming back. And I'm not a very good jumper, and when it come back, it knocked me off my feet. Probably the one that gave us the most time to think about being frightened is in drill school. We had to rappel off the top of the training tower. So just picture, you get to tie your own rope. So we're tied around a railing on the stairway. Tied my rope around that. And then you walk over and you set on the parapet at the top of the 7th-story building. So you're 7 stories below you. You've got the rope. You run it through your thing, and you sit there. And then you have to kick off, turn yourself around so you're standing on your feet so you can lower yourself down. That's pretty scary to do that first kickoff. You trust that your knots worked, that everything is working, but after you got out on the wall on your feet, then it was kind of fun. But to just throwing yourself out in the air and then catching yourself and going back up against the wall. Then you go down and skip the windows and skip the windows. You don't want to go through the windows.
Right.
So that was probably one of the. I was in a group of 30 people, and I'd say 29 of them were more scared than me, and I was scared. So, anyway, it was. I was used to some of that stuff, and probably the the most tempting of fate, I suppose, is I rode a motorcycle for 54 years and never fell down. Never got hit, never fell down. So that's not doing trail riding. Trail riding, I fell down a lot, but not in traffic. And this is a road bike for that many years, so I never fell down. But at 75, I sold it.